Nunawading had no reason to be considered important. Not until the quality of the pottery coming from the early brickworks began to attract attention from 1873 onwards. The Australian Brick, Tile and Tessellated Tile Company held its first meeting on 16 November 1885. With the appointment of directors, the purchase of 26 acres of land from Mr. Richards of Mitcham, by 1 June 1886 the company was manufacturing bricks. But there were growing pains. By July 1886, capital was critically low and had to be raised quickly. By 1890, capital had increased from £10,000 to £50,000. The company was advantaged by increasing settlement and progress with consequent demand for sanitation and sewerage. Demand for new types of gutter pipes and sanitary pipes enabled the company to survive the 1890 to 1893 depression. The company produced beautiful decorative tiles, such as those used in bathrooms and public conveniences, very much in vogue in the 1890s. Tiles also became very popular for paving verandas of Victorian-era houses. So highly prized were they that they were specified for the Commercial Bank of Australia's headquarters in Melbourne and many public works buildings. Councillor Mailing, a builder and Shire councillor for Boroondara, declared, having seen the success of the company's tiles used for their new Shire Hall in 1891, that he would, in future, use the company's tiles in preference to any imported tiles. An outstanding example of the company's work could be seen in the Coles No. 12 flagship store, Australia's largest variety store, which opened on 21st March 1930. The first floor cafeteria, designed by Norris, was famous for its interior decorated in a Mexican variant of the Art Deco style. The extensive tile work carried out by the Australian Tessellated Tile Company, who had over 5,000 colours at their disposal, utilised over 2,100,000 tiles in decorating the cafeteria. The mosaic floor was the largest ceramic tile floor in Australia at the time. The cafeteria floor was paved with mosaic tiles in greens, black and gold, and the walls were deep green above a dado of grey with decoration in blue and terracotta. The quality of the company's tile work was sufficiently imported to be included in the collections of the Powerhouse Museum and Museum Victoria collections. Our own collection includes a variety of the company's interesting and beautiful works. In 1895, restructuring with retention of some staff and management retitled the company as the Australian Tessellated Tile Company Proprietary Limited. The company's first manager and director, Edgar Edwards Walker, pushed for a railway siding at Mitcham from the Victorian Railways in 1885. This would become vital in transporting the company's goods from the factory and transporting coal to the factory for the furnaces. Walker was instrumental in ordering the best pottery plant in the world from Bolton's in England. Always seeking to advance the company, Walker introduced the manufacture of dry-pressed dust or biscuit tiles to the factory after an exploratory trip to England and France. These highly glazed wall tiles, the clay for which came from England, became the company's signature product for many years. Other ventures into producing classical urns and bird baths were not so successful. This was a pity, as they were highly unusual and very attractive. But fashions change. The company generated overseas interest. The Ceramic Age, an American publication, carried an article on the company. After Walker's death, the company's fortunes declined, and the difficulty of attracting labour after World War II compounded problems. Working conditions became poor, equipment was run down, accidents began to occur, low morale led to poor quality control. In addition, new understanding of the dangers of dust exposure leading to silicosis caused the Department of Health to inquire closely into workers' health. Dissension arose between directors and staff as they fought over how to fix the issues. In 1960, the company became a subsidiary of Rockler Industries Limited. The skills and experience gained by the Walker family in clay-based industries continues in Walker Ceramics at Croydon. The works were notorious for the soot, smut and smells emanating from them. Hardly fair when their existence predated housing subdivisions, but such are the perils of progress. Every Monday morning the furnaces were fired up for the week's work. If the wind was blowing in the wrong direction, local clotheslines and their contents were soon covered in black smuts. The air was perfumed with the odours of sulphur dioxide. Pity the local girl being married on a Saturday. On Friday night the pottery had expelled a cloud of soot as usual, which settled on every level surface. Not noticing, the bride in her finery backed out through the wire door of her home, failing to notice the covering of soot it had acquired. Complaints to the factory owners produced sympathy, but there was nothing we could do about it. The steam whistle blew at 7:30 a.m. and over 100 people hurried into the yards. Having had 45 minutes for lunch, the workers streamed out again at 5 p.m. every day, including Saturday and Sunday. Wages were low, 15 shillings per week, but comparatively, the agricultural pipes they were making cost only 2p each, and bricks were £2.10 a thousand. The company employed many women in the 1900s, from sorters to artists. By the 1920s, the company employed several hundred people, and the Mitcham railway siding was a very busy and big stop on the line. Clay was dug from the company's own pits, except that used for the biscuit tiles, which came from England. It was then shaped and fired in one of the 21 kilns. When the pipes or roofing tiles were placed in the kiln, the opening was bricked up. In the outer chimney, up to 9 boxes were stoked. They were kept burning for the length of time and exact temperature needful for the individual contents of any one kiln. Pipes, for instance, required a lower temperature than melt glazed terracotta. Some fires had to be kept at the correct temperatures for up to 7 days. The fires were then blocked and allowed to cool slowly. The coal for the furnaces came in train vans and was unloaded at the Mitcham siding. Mr. Harry Alderton joined the company in 1900. He started as a labourer in the clay pits, having been employed on the understanding he provided his own shovel. His starting wage was 15 shillings a week. Harry worked his way up to a unique position. When E. Walker died, his will stipulated Harry's employment was to continue for life. Harry was never to be laid off. Harry had become the supervisor of the 100-hour shifts. This arduous task involved Harry watching the furnace fires for 100 hours, ensuring they were kept at the correct temperature. He could not leave the fires unattended, not sleeping in all that time, but bricking up the kilns after they had been stacked and shovelling coal for hours to guarantee a constant temperature, one fire after another. When E. Walker had his own house built, it was decorated with a distinctive keystone arch made of 20 2-foot 6-inch by 1-foot sized blocks, completed with a specific finish. Each block weighed 250 pounds. Harry had to work 4 days and nights, sleepless, to achieve the desired colour and finish. Harry had been head sorter at one stage of his employment, and it was there that he met his wife. Mrs. Alderton sorted tiles for 16 shillings a week. On being asked on his retirement what Harry had done in his leisure hours, Mrs. Alderton answered promptly, "We had no leisure hours. His entire life was spent at the works."